Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is news time on My Media Prime Television with me, Eileen. Today, the 5th of September 2022, marks the beginning of the 2022-2023 academic year. In Douala, students, pupils and teachers were quite excited to carry on with their daily school activities after a long resting holiday period. Nicole Tako reports.
After a long resting holiday period, the 2022-2023 academic year kickstarts. Here in Douala, Cameroon's economic capital, in full gear. Teachers, students and pupils are excited and at the same time determined to begin this new school year. Meanwhile, Tata Flora, a primary school teacher in Douala, now uses this opportunity in calling on parents who still think schools have not yet begun effectively to send their kids to school.
I call on my dear parents that for those of you who are still keeping your pupils at home, who has not yet started, or we have not yet started teaching, please I call on the people to please send your children to school because the classes have already begun. As you can see, we have started writing. Those of you who are already still behind will still always be late as you are still not yet in class. So school have already begun. Thank you.
On the other hand, nursery school first-timers are having difficulties leaving the comfort of their homes and parents to be in classrooms on the first day of school. In addition, this teacher on his part says school has begun effectively in here. The 2022-2023 academic year has started very well in our school and classes started effectively. All the students were in class and on time. From the smiles on their faces, they are happy. For those still at home thinking that classes has not begun effectively, they will have themselves to blame. This school academic year has begun with a lot of zeal on the part of the teachers, and as such, students who are still left behind are being called to resume classes effectively.
Relatively, the governor of the Southwest region has called on parents who are still struggling to gather means to send their children to school that the time has come this first day of school, September 5, 2022. He was speaking while visiting some schools in his normal checks or tour of the region on day one of school commencement. Emmanuel C. tells us more.
From private through public and mission schools, Governor Kalabilai moved with his team from class to class and from school to school, checking how the first day looks like in the city of Boya. A warm welcome from each school by the school administration and students. An exchange was made to see if these students were indeed happy to be back after the long holidays. Mr. Okalia was so happy to see that the students were present in their classrooms and their teachers on with lectures.
All of us, we can see that our sons and daughters, our children are there. They are joyful, they are happy to come back to school. The parents, the teachers, everybody is mobilized, and we want to congratulate all the stakeholders. From the administrator of the school, the regional delegate of secondary education, all the staff, the principals who are mobilized to make this first day of the new academic year a successful day.
Noting that it was a challenge for children to be in school on a Monday years ago, today makes a difference.
They are there, you can see their joys. You can see their determination to continue. So we can say that the future is bright, and we should be proud of our children. We should thank the parents and all the entire community.
It is the first day of school in Boya, the city of...
Some students in Mamfe, Manu division of the Southwest region of Cameroon took to the streets over the weekend to stage a protest demanding a H-free resumption of school. They marched together with the mayor of Mamfe, Tamnjong Robinson, with placards carrying different messages. Catherine Akongwe completes that story.
It was a chaotic atmosphere over the weekend in Mamfe, the southwest region of Cameroon, as some students took to the street on a peaceful march for an effective and efficient school resumption in Manu. They complained that they are tired of going to school in fright and without uniforms. The students marched together with the mayor of Mamfe, Tamnjong Robinson, with placards carrying messages like "Stop violence against school children," "Manu people, send your children to school."
Students themselves, they have come out to say it quite clear that they want to go to school with uniform because they know the abuses they have undergone because of putting on assorted dresses. You know, when a small child of 14 years putting on assorted dresses who looks like a mature woman, and by so doing, so many atrocities have taken place in Manu division and the Southwest as a whole. So if they themselves have taken upon themselves to say that they want to go to school with uniform, who am I? Rather than saying that it is a wonderful thing.
The mayor as well called on all elites and well-wishers of Manu to support these students through any means for them to efficiently return to school.
That is the more reason I have taken them to the senior divisional officer for Manu division to tell him what the students are saying. And the elites are also galvanizing a lot of resources to see that they will support the students go back to school with their uniform.
It should be borne in mind that for over 6 years now, since the Anglophone crisis started in the northwest and southwest region of Cameroon, students have been going to school with assorted dresses. These students, who are not only from Manu division, want a change this year as they march peacefully under tight security for a change.
Over in Kribi, students are being given the preference to travel over regular passengers at bus stations, all in a bid to enable them resume studies. In this report, Nolinga found out that trips have doubled in the past 3 days because of the back-to-school rush. Her report.
Schools have resumed in most parts of the country, but in Kribi, chief town of the Ocean Division of the South region of Cameroon, holiday makers are the majority of this crowd are travel agencies who are hoping to get back to their various destinations for studies. In just a few days, the number of trips have doubled as everyone is trying to get a ticket. Thus, the scramble is inevitable.
I paid my ticket since, but there is no bus, so that's why I enter here to waste time, so not such a waste they will come there I'll go and
Nonetheless, Zotwi Askadiru, a transport agency manager, says this is what they've been up to in a bid to facilitate the transportation of goods, services, and especially students, who are their top priority now.
Nous sommes préparés effectivement pour entamer décembre.
It is 1 day into school resumption, and yet holidaymakers are still trying to get back to their areas of residence to join peers for the 9-month ride.
This human interest story, a woman and her son have cheated to death in Kumba, southwest region of Cameroon, as they were almost covered by a landslide following heavy rains that characterize areas of the southwest region, with floods destroying homes and properties. Get details right ahead.
This is the woman and her son who almost lost their lives to a landslide at Hilltop Kumba around Fiango, Meme division of Cameroon southwest region. From a distance, a man's voice could be heard, alerting the lady to quickly leave the spot where a disaster could have happened. As she turned to watch the ground coming down with a tree, she and her son were almost covered by the residue before the onlookers scolded her to leave the area as she looked confused about the occurrence around her.
Il y a glissement de terrain au niveau. Madame, comment faut-il?
Residents in Kumba have been left stranded as floods hit part of the town following heavy rains on Sunday, 4th of September 2022. Homes were heavily flooded. The Senior Divisional Officer of Mehmet Division, Noel Chamberlain, accompanied by the Kumba City Mayor and other administrators, visited the area where the landslide occurred with tractors to carry the ground and clear the road.
Let me say that the activity has been affected early this morning, but thanks to the mobilization of all the stakeholders. Let me sincerely say thank you to all of them who also followed the call sent by the SGO to come and support us. I see behind that activity, the city mayor, all the economic operators, the state council was with us since this morning. All of us, GOs, mayors, we have been mobilized in order to reopen the roads.
Noel Chamberlain announced also that those in these risk zones will be visited in the days ahead and told what measures to take to avoid any possible catastrophe.
You know, this incident is helping us also to see all those who are living in a very risky zone. I'm sure that after this exercise, we are going to move on to localize them, the city mayor, in order to advise them to leave those places which are very, very dangerous for life.
Note here that a similar scenario occurred in Limbe, where movement was halted in several neighborhoods inundated by persistent rains. Inhabitants could be heard lamenting.
Live my 4 backpack Limbe. Backpack for Limbe, oh, my 4, oh, as the wrong go.
If one no for. Say her children enter my house, oh. Mommy, this one thing, oh. Right for inside room.
Wututu, a village in Fako Division, was not left out of the floodings as well. However, the people of the southwest region of Cameroon remain thankful as no souls were lost due to the torrential rains and heavy floods over the weekend.
The population of Bamenda has lauded the efforts of Shima International in managing waste disposal of the Bamenda city following the recent termination of the contract with the waste management company. Charles Kebwa reports from Bamenda.
Waste that can cause a lot of health risk if poorly managed. 3 months ago, the city of Bamenda almost got into health because the waste in the city was not clear since the contract of the waste management company Hisakam was terminated, if not of the goodwill of Shima International, who decided to offer her services almost for free, clearing the waste in the city.
And you find out that the town was clean. When Hisakam came in, well, they were doing something like that. But then, with the crisis, it stopped automatically. The whole town was a mess. So I came in. And I think that I'm working for the people. I'm not working for myself.
The carrying of waste comes with a lot of challenges, including financial.
Financially, we are not prepared. The second part of it is the population is not prepared to us. When we, like you said, when we advise the population, people just come and dump everything, which makes it a little bit difficult. You see some of the boys who are struggling to work. We have to employ the manual labor that will be cleaning these places, these dumping places, or this where they keep the garbage, they go back to the dump site. And
with the management of waste by Shima International now well structured,
preventing an epidemic or pandemic from the general population, our workers will not be the first victim. So make sure that they are well equipped to do their work. We give them training, as I already said. We make sure that we pass day in, day out to see what they're doing. I will give them guidance as the day goes.
rallying youth in collaboration carrying waste, workers say the job put food in their table.
It's not an easy job. We are struggling and we are still going to do it like every day here on the field to make sure that the city is clean. Even if it is not a white-collar job like others were expecting, we are contented with the little we are getting, and our families can feed. So the most important thing for me as an individual is that the city should be clean, so that we benefit from other things that will come, like when they want to give out prizes, like the city, the cleanest city in the whole country. We will benefit from it. It's not only from the money we are earning, but people can see us and appreciate us.
In many ways, because now I'm able to take care of my family, my child, and everything about us, and neighbors. So the job is not that bad. This place is a dirty job, but I'm very okay. I'm very happy.
Our waste is our first responsibility. The population is advised to, in their own way, support in waste management within their neighborhood.
We stay in the northwest region where some 5 internally displaced children will see their education taken care of from the primary to the university level by Vision for Life in partnership with their German-based partners, African Women Empowerment Organization. Charles Kebwa once more reports from Bamenda.
These 5 internally displaced children in the northwest will see their education taken care of from the primary to the university level by Vision for Life in partnership with their German-based partners, African Women Empowerment.
No, with this crisis, there are so many kids that are not going to school. Yeah, and we know that when a child doesn't go to school, it is not the best. So we decided that we have to push on to send these children to school so that they grow up tomorrow in the society to be good children.
Back to school materials and equipments handed to the children with means finance from African Women Empowerment, while supervision and implementation done by Vision for Life. The war in Ukraine affecting the world economy, making prices of goods in the market very high, including school materials. Thus, making available school equipment stock materials, Vision for Life said could not go unappreciated.
My heart is so happy because it has just met the objective, one of the objectives of Vision for Life. So I'm really thankful to Ewane, and I'm just sending them.
With education being very important, using kids, education for political problem, a disaster.
Don't educate our children, especially those that are in this zone, crisis zone, then we'll be left backward. We will not have people to take over from us when we are no longer there.
The 5 kids grateful promise to make good use of the opportunity and materials offered them.
I want to thank for this gift and school equipment that is special to me, and I'll be a special girl in class and I'll pass my exam.
The handing over of the school materials to the kids was characterized by songs of appreciation.
Onto something else, village authorities of Cook Village, Menchum division of the Northwest region, have confirmed that the lake is safe, void of any smell, contrary to earlier reports. This was after an alarm was raised regarding a bad smell perceived from the Lake Cook and a change in its original color by the inhabitants. Joy Gong has details in this report.
7 days ago, on the 30th of August 2022, inhabitants of Cook Village, Fungam Subdivision, Menchum Division of the Northwest region of Cameroon, woke up in panic following a sudden change in the color of the Lake Cook and the odor in its vicinity. As the whole nation waited for scientific conclusion, immediate media reports warned for a possible repetition of the August 21, 1986 Lake Nias disaster, which had occurred in the
Same day, August 30, 2022, the Senior Divisional Officer for Menchum, in a press release, attributed the sudden change of the lake to heavy rains, which led to an increase in water level, bringing up to the surface particles deposited at the bottom of the lake, further causing the odor in the area. The Senior Divisional Officer's press statement was precise. The lake is safe, contrary to earlier reports. Notables of the village equally made a trip to the lake to see for themselves whether or not to expect another lake disaster and had this to say.
The President, the Vice National President of the Cultural and Development Association, I've just crossed the hamlet of the Lake Cook. I'm presently at the site of the lake, and this is the lake. What I can say here, the lake does not have its normal color, but the color that is. And here at the outlet of the lake, it has its normal color. So what I'm seeing here now is not different from the advice I've gotten from the Senior Divisional Officer. In the first day, they say the water is somehow half cent. I can even touch from my hands. There is no dangerous.
Of camera sources from Cook Village, however, linked the circumstance to the people's tradition. The Cook Palace being the custodian of the lake, whenever the fun or sub-chief disappears or joins their ancestors, the lake produces a toxic smell and could change its color even to yellow. As they narrated, the experience does not cause panic to those who know the significance.
That they have been, that all have died, but we have seen them, they are still alive. Even the small bird that they used to swim inside, they are still swimming now presently. So what is different from it is only the color that is flooding us.
This is not the first time inhabitants panic over a red alarm raised regarding lakes in Cameroon. On the night between the 18th and 19th of May 2018, false reports of a poisonous gas explosion of Lake Ewane hit social media, with several calls made for people to drink palm oil so as to protect themselves. The panic, which is largely inspired by the fear of another Lake Nyos disaster, the population of Cook Village, Fungam Subdivision and the entire Menchum Division are called upon to remain calm, vigilant, and work in collaboration with the administration if any other incident is noted.
Joingang reporting there. Now, hemodialysis patients at the Boya Regional Hospital can now smile after news reached them that 7 machines are now active and dialysis can now be done. This information comes after a sit-down protest by these patients this morning at the hospital. Emmanuel C. has details from Boya.
It was a cold morning here at the Southwest Regional Hospital in Boya, where patients at the hemodialysis center blocked the main entrance into the hospital, demanding for more machines at the dialysis center after going for 2 weeks without being dialyzed.
We cannot live without dialysis. I told you that we are a fish out of water. Fishes don't. Kidneys, dialysis is our new life. I said they should treat us with a lot of respect. We were like you in those days. So for more than a week now, most of us have not dialyzed. And we are finding it very difficult to live.
Trying to calm down the situation with dialogue, the director of the regional hospital, Dr. Mukake Martin, presents the situation on ground concerning these machines.
Yeah, we have 6 machines. A population of about 120 grossly insufficient, yes. But we should also understand that these machines, 6 machines, were brought in a little bit about 2 years ago. So it's not like the government is doing nothing, it's doing something. As all machines, they have to work for a particular number of hours and rest for a particular number of hours. But unfortunately, we have 6 machines that could go for maybe 30 patients or 40 comfortably and live longer, but we have to use it maybe three times its normal value and evaluation. So we find a situation whereby we have constantly new machines, but in a very short period of time, those machines are worn out because of the population. So the problem now is having the adequate number of machines, to maybe even 20 or more, which there is an existing project to increase the hemodialysis center completely, which has been already endorsed by the Ministry of Public Health. The
center, considered to be the third biggest dialysis center in Cameroon, has just 6 machines to accommodate about 105 patients a week in a 4-hour sit-in session each. Some patients who have been at the center all weekend but still couldn't be dialyzed, the regional delegate says help is on the way.
The government is also proactive. The government saw into this, and before now, negotiations are already being done at the level of the ministry and at the level of the regional assembly to see that new machines are acquired. So we are sincerely hoping that not very far from now, new machines will be acquired. But what we have to do now is to address the emergency problem.
At the time of this report, the director of the regional hospital, Dr. Mukake Martin, has put a smile on the faces of these patients by providing 3 more dialysis machines at the moment while waiting for Yaoundé to act on the...
You're welcome back. In news out of Cameroon, at least 19 civilians have been killed in an attack in central Somalia, while 2 others lost their lives and several others were trapped following a collapse of a story building in Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos. Developments of these stories and more with Fon Quinta.
Kenya's Supreme Court has unanimously validated the presidential election results of the vote held last August that saw Vice President William Ruto declared winner with 50.5% votes. Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, Lady Justice Martha Koome, delivered the verdict Monday afternoon by dismissing many of the petitions that alleged fraud in the technology used in the electoral process while recognizing what it called a serious malaise in governance of the Electoral Commission. Let's remain in East Africa, where at least 19 civilians have been killed in an attack by radical Shabab Islamists on a road in central Somalia. According to local officials and clan leaders, at least 8 passenger minibuses and trucks traveling on a road between the towns of Beledweyne and Magzas were intercepted, bundled and set on fire, killing passengers. Meanwhile, the fate of some passengers abducted remains unknown. The attack took place 2 weeks after a spectacular assault by the Al-Qaeda-affiliated Shabab on a hotel in the capital Mogadishu that left at least 117 injured. Away from East Africa, let's move to West African country Senegal, where at least 3 persons have died from floods caused by heavy rain in the capital Dakar. Commiserating with the victims, President Macky Sall said a delegation was dispatched to the families of the 3 people swept away by the latest rains. The center of Dakar had already been severely affected by these floods that killed 1 person in the month of August. Flooding caused by torrential rain is common at this time of the year across West Africa. And at least 2 people were killed and more trapped on Sunday after a 7-story unfinished building collapsed in Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos. The 7-story building collapsed in a commercial area of Lagos, with the structure almost completely flattened, according to photographs released by Rescue. The bodies had been recovered from the rubble on Sunday, according to Ibrahim Farilaye of the National Emergency Management Agency. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has called for improved construction standards, calling the frequency of building collapses increasingly embarrassing in Nigeria.
One Quintus report concludes today's edition of Prime News, produced by Ewane. I have been Eileen Sama for presentation, thanking you all for listening. The news was compiled by Lasha Kingsley. Do stay tuned to more amazing programs coming up this first day of the week on My Media Prime Television. Prime R will be us next week. Leonard and his team. Have a blessed night. Until tomorrow, we love you.